A lot can happen in 24 hours. Over the last 24 hours in this country, you've had FBI raids and resignations of top Democrats. You've had Supreme Court rulings that upend all of the electoral math for the midterms. Now Republicans are favored. Political revolutions in the UK that shatter the two-party system. You've had insurrections in the Tennessee state capitol that have led to arrests. And you've even had the UFO files dropped on our plate this morning. Barely even a blip because there's so much going on. Hantavirus, what's that going to turn into? Who knows? Who the hell cares? Everybody asked for the arrest of Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. That's all that matters in life, except for, well, this. Because you couldn't just get through a Friday without one more massive news dump. And here it is, President Trump announcing ceasefire, peace in our time. The president of peace between America and Iran? Nope. Between Ukraine and Russia. Of course, this was going to drop today. Let's go ahead and read. What are the terms? As we've seen with Iran, these things can be very sticky. The devil is in the details, as they say. I'm pleased to announce there will be a ceasefire. This will be from May the 9th, 10th, and 11th in the war between Russia and Ukraine. So the celebration in Russia is a victory day, but unlike in Ukraine, because there was a big factor in World War II, the ceasefire will include the suspension of all kinetic activity and also a prisoner swap of 1,000 prisoners from each country. This request was made directly by me, and I'm very appreciative for the agreement with Vladimir Putin and President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Hopefully, this is the beginning of the end of a very long, deadly, hard-fought brother war that is going on there. Talks are continuing on ending the major conflict, the biggest since World War II, and we are getting closer and closer every single day. Thank you for your attention to this matter, says Donald Trump. Trump stuns world by brokering shock 3-day Russia-Ukraine ceasefire, 2,000 prisoner swap on the eve of Putin's victory day. Yo, is it happening? This would be a wild flex, by the way, because Russia, of course, is a very strong ally of Iran. And so and President Trump is heading to Xi Jinping's China in days. So is this like another massive power play? The ceasefire comes as Russian President Putin prepares a celebration in Moscow for the Victory Day, World War II. Celebration in Russia, so on and so forth. Trump says he hopes the ceasefire will begin the end of the war. Oh my. Great use of photos here. Yeah, Zelenskyy probably not happy. Zelenskyy, of course, doesn't want the war to end. Zelenskyy wants the war to continue because that means the money keeps flowing. But eventually, people, you run out of people, you run out of time, you run out of will. Chinese President Xi Jinping is currently visiting Russia to participate in celebrations of the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany. Xi's arrival comes just days before he's expected to welcome Trump to Beijing, highly anticipated summit between the world leaders. Several other national leaders are expected at Putin's celebration. Okay, so this is a flex because Xi Jinping is also already there. There you go. President Trump revealing a 3-day ceasefire.
She's live on the North Lawn as the president just sent out that statement in a Truth Social. Aisha?
Hey, Sandra and John, and I am told by a source that we should be expecting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to also put out a statement here shortly on X, so we will keep our eyes peeled for that. And you just read it there. It was quite a shock to us here at the White House because we were actually waiting for a development on the Iran deal, the Iran negotiations, because Secretary of State Marco Rubio had said that the administration expected a response from Iran today. Instead, we have now gotten this from Russia and Ukraine, a 3-day ceasefire.
Why not both?
And the dates are very interesting as we pull up the True Social here. May 9th, May 10th, and May 11th. And that's interesting because that is around Victory Day for Russia. Okay. Of course.
Got it. All right. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we want to see. We know that the moment that you declare peace with these conflicts, whatever you want to call them, they have like different words. They don't want you to call it a war in Iran, right? But the moment that you declare peace, It is going to mean the stock market rips. It is going to mean that commodities begin to flow freely. It is going to mean strength, if it's played correctly, for America and our position in the world. It's going to mean we take over Cuba pretty much overnight. And it's going to be a far more prosperous and peaceful time. We want that because we want to win. While Russia is having their victory day, I want my victory day here in this country. We are already set to pretty much win the midterms, although eking through with just like a point here or a point there. But the decision in Virginia means that Republicans are now favored to keep the House and the Senate, which is wild. So how do you make sure that being favored means you actually dominate and do it? You have to have gas prices go down. You have to have food prices go down. You have to have home prices go down. That means you have to have heavy, muscular focus on our economy here at home. And the administration has already proven that they can do this because the administration had faced a crisis with egg prices. And now egg prices are cheaper than they've been in a generation. Why? Because they focused on those domestic issues, and they had President Trump's full focus. So I'd very much like for the tail to wag the dog here and for President Trump to buckle up and to get focused directly on the American economy. I get it that we can do two things at once, but you see what I've seen, which is that like the Iranian war has sucked up all the oxygen, and people need to see domestic victories. And so that is something that we should be calling for and pounding the table over. It's wild this war is still going on and everybody just kind of moved on from it. Remember when it's all people talked about? That's exactly right. You're actually starting to see fatigue with the Iran war. It's the same thing. And that's a huge problem for Iran. It's a far bigger problem for Iran than it is for the United States of America because the war is a liability to President Trump. Whatever you think of it, you know that's true. All foreign wars are liabilities to presidents. The Gulf War was a liability for George H.W. Bush. Bosnia, Serbia, this kind of stuff was bad for Clinton. You don't even need to mention Iraq and Afghanistan for George W. Bush and how devastating that was for the Republican Party. Barack Obama's actions in Syria and his droning of American teenagers is a black spot and a mark on his legacy forever. And of course, what happened with Benghazi and Gaddafi, that all happened under Obama's watch. It's horrifying. It's terrible. What happened to our boys in Benghazi, of course, will be scarred in the back of my mind forever. What are we saying? We're just saying that these are liabilities. And so we want that liability up and out from under the president's portfolio, right? Yeah. Okay. Despite constantly dealing with Iran, President Trump has personally gotten involved and negotiated a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. The president of peace, Russia, Ukraine, 3-day ceasefire. Here it is, the Zelenskyy statement. Recent days, there have been many appeals and signals regarding a setup for tomorrow in Moscow in connection with our Ukrainian long-range sanctions. The principal symmetry of the actions, well known, clearly communicated with the Russian side. Additional agreement with Ukraine determining the position has always been the resolution of the key humanitarian issues of this war, namely the release of prisoners of the war. Red Square is less important to us than the lives of Ukrainian prisoners brought home. Today, with the framework of negotiating process mediated by the American side, we received Russia's agreement to conduct a prisoner exchange in the format of 1,000 for 1,000. Ceasefire regime must also be established. Ukraine is constantly working to bring its people home from Russian captivity. Blah, blah, blah. Thank the President of the United States for this and their productive diplomatic involvement. What even happened to this guy? Like, nobody even cares about him anymore. Remember, he was like the new hotness? Russia-Ukraine war is a tragedy. Both sides are paying a heavy price for it. We are prepared to play whatever role we can to bring it to a peaceful resolution.
Time and energy and an effort that's not moving forward. But if we see an opportunity to act as a mediator that brings both sides closer to a peace deal, we'd like to see it. Our position at the end of the day is that this war is a tragedy. Both sides are paying a very heavy price for it, both economic and obviously at a human level. It's destructive. We're against it. And anytime you tell me about strikes and people, or every time I hear about these things, it just reminds us of why this war needs to end.
There we go. Here we go. And President Trump saying he's ending the war so he can go to heaven.
Ukrainian, mostly soldiers, some people as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? President Trump going to heaven because of peace deals? Iran's the big one. And once that's wrapped up, baby, and it seems like they decouple. I mean, they said this week the Operation Epic Fury is over. We're going to do what is necessary to just get Iran over the finish line on this stuff. Oh, baby. And then lock in, because it's going to get rip roaring. It's going to be an insane next 6 months. You are tuned into the right place. Stick with us, okay? We will stay on top of this. Peace in our time. The President of Peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy Benny. See ya.